Hi OSLO users. Today I'm going to talk about the built-in text editors that OSLO has with it. These are used to help you modify the program. There are actually two that are shipped with the program. The first is the standard text editor, and you can open it with this button here, and the second is Notepad++. You will note I actually have a third one here, this Ultra Edit. That is something that used to be shipped with the program. The second way to open these windows is through this editor here under the window command here under editor. There you can open this would open the default, and then there is the Notepad++ one, which is here. Now if you actually open up the OSLO help, there's actually a command to open edit windows. It's edit when close or edit window open. Edit when open, EWO would be the shorthand for that. And when you just type in EWO, right now it's opening this default text editor. And if I click on this Notepad++ button and then I do EWO again, now it's switched to the Notepad++. And the same thing would happen if I'm choosing them here in this editor, either this open or Notepad++. Then if I try the command, it will switch. How's it doing that? Well, it turns out there's a preference that it's picking. So when you actually have the default, it's this STP-TXED, that's set preference for the text editor, and having it as just a blank argument here, that is the default, and having Notepad++, it makes that preference Notepad++. So when you can open them and close them by controlling what that preference is. But you never really have to do that if you're using the buttons or if you're using this window, because it'll just open the one that you want and then it automatically changes that preference. So that's it. Those are the three ways to open it: with the buttons, with the menu, or if you want to use the command knowing that there's this TXED preference that controls which one is opened. The next question you might ask is, why would I want to use an internal text editor versus an external text editor? External text editors will certainly work great, and as long as you're saving your programs where OSLO expects them to be, everything should run just marvelously. But these built-in text editors do a few additional things that you can't do with an external editor. So first I'm going to look at the standard text editor. So I open it up here. The main thing that this can do is, if I open here, I will just open a CCL that I have written. If I open this up and then I look to save it, if I use save or save and exit editor, then the CCL, the entire private CCL directory has been compiled when I do that. And the same thing would happen if I save and exit. The other thing that you can do in here, which is really nice, and I'll just show this. I open this as, I just open a new, is I can actually use this as a multi-line command line. In other words, I don't need to type a bunch of commands in to the command line. I can just enter them in here. I'm going to open here a double Gauss lens. So I open this double Gauss lens, and as you can see, there's nothing in here. Well, let's say someone has sent me this lens file. This double Gauss lens, by the way, is under the public demo OSLO Lite library. But I have a friend, they've actually run a few commands. They've either had the echo on, or they know the commands, or they've looked them up in the history and they've saved them for me. And they say, I want you to look at this lens with these exact settings. So you come here and I can hit either Control E, or I can go to Edit and I can execute that selection. Now I execute that selection and I essentially have the environment that they had for that lens file when they sent it to me. So it can be done instead of writing a program to do that. They can just send you the little set of commands, and rather than entering them all in on the command line, I can just enter them into the default text window. So that's pretty handy. Those are the two main things: just automatic compiling and the ability to run these commands. Now, the negative with the text editor, there's a couple negatives to it. If you're doing something more complicated, a much more involved type of CCL, There's no color coding. Everything is just in text form. If I go back here and open my this bending CCL that I wrote, you can see here this is commented code, but it doesn't really look any different. There's nothing that signifies what different keywords are. It's a bit limited on what it can do. And for that very reason, Lambda has chosen to ship this Notepad++. Last thing on this default text editor is that if you notice, it always lives over OSLO too, so you have to move it out of the way. So I tend to open it and close it when I'm using it, and it turns out it will open back up to whatever file you were just working on within that session of OSLO. So it works quite well for doing certain things, but it does have its limitations. So now if I go to open Notepad++, first note, I can actually have the default editor and Notepad++ open at the same time. You may want to do that. You may never want to do that. So now I open Notepad++, and if you notice when I open this, as long as I have loaded in the CCL command definitions into Notepad++, and we have a separate video that shows you how to do that, then everything here is color coded. So Notepad++ is just great for longer routines because you can get some color coding to help you determine what's happening. Also, there are additional features. It's a more advanced text editor than the little default one. So it's been included as a development type of text editor. And so it has a lot of additional features that you can certainly choose to use. Now, both of these also you can find in the help. So here I showed the OSLO online help. I have the edit window open and closed. If I click right here, I get the default text editor, and it talks about some of the things I mentioned. And then down here, it also mentions Notepad++. You can type Notepad++ into the index, and you would actually come to the same page. And this talks about Notepad++, which is an external program, so it has its own wiki and other information with it, so you can use all those features. So these are included in OSLO because they can do some extra things and make your life easier. I hope you find them useful, and I hope you like this video. Thanks.